In today's lesson, we're going to just very basically go over the four operations you can do with fractions. I'm going to give you some examples of adding with fractions, subtracting fractions, multiplying, and dividing fractions. When adding fractions, we always want to find the lowest common denominator. What does that mean? Well, let's give you an example. Let's say we wanted to add 1/2 plus 2/3. All we're saying with the lowest common denominator is that the lower part of the fraction or the denominator have to be the same. And whenever we multiply the denominator by to get that lowest common denominator, we also multiply the numerator to keep the fraction the same proportion. So in this case, the lowest common denominator of 2 and 3, we just go the different factors of 2, 2, 4, 6, and over here we can go to 6. So we're already at the lowest common denominator, which is 6. So now we just multiply the numerator by the same number that we did to get to the lowest common denominator. So in this case, it's 3. We had to multiply 2 times 3 to get 6. So we also multiply the numerator by 3 to maintain the same proportion. And then over here on the second fraction, we had to multiply 3 times 2 to get 6. So it's 2 over 2 times 2/3. And those are going to equal. Over the first fraction, we're going to have 3 over 6 plus 4 over 6. And then now all we need to do is add the numerators. So in this case, we're going to have 3 plus 4 equals 7 over 6. The 6 doesn't change. That always stays the same. Let's try another example of adding two fractions. Is up here, select the brush, and let's just say 2 over 3 plus 3 over 4. Okay, and so the first thing to do is find the lowest common denominator. In this case, we're looking for a number that we can divide evenly, both 3 and 4. So then you can write out 6, 9, and 12. And then over here we can go 8 and 12. So we found the lowest common denominator is 12. And so then we have 12 in the denominator. So we had to multiply that 3 times 4 to get 12. So we take 4 times 2 to get the numerator, which is 8, plus, here we had to multiply 4 times 3 to get 12. So that gives us 12 in the denominator, and 3 times 3 is 9 in the numerator. And then we just add the numerators together to get 17 over 12. Now let's try subtracting a couple of fractions. The process is the same. We're going to look for the lowest common denominator. And we'll just do a couple of examples to illustrate. Once again, we'll just start with the 1/2 minus 1/3 and the lowest common denominator is 6. So you're going to have 6 in the denominator. We had to multiply the 2 times 3 to get 6, so we multiply 1 times 3 to get 3 in the numerator, minus 6 in the denominator. And then we had to multiply the 3 times 2, so we're going to put a 2 right there. And then that just, we subtract the numerators. In this case, it will be a 1. 3 minus 2 is 1. And then the denominator will stay the same. Okay, let's do one more here. 2/3 minus, let's say 3. Yep, 3/5. That'll make sure that we have a positive number. Okay, the lowest common denominator here is, let's go through the multiples of 3. 3, 6, 9, 12, and 15. And then over here we've got 5, 10, and 15. So our common denominator is 15. And 15 in the denominator. And so we had to multiply 3 times 5 to get 15. So we take 5 times 2 is 10. Minus And we had to multiply 5 times 3 to get to 15. So we multiplied 3 times 3 is 9 over 15. And then so we subtract the 9 from the 10, and that gives us 1 over 15. And we're done. Now we want to try multiplying a couple of fractions. The basic difference between multiplying and adding is that with the multiplying, you don't have to find the lowest common denominator. You just multiply the numerator by the denominator. And if the fractions allow, then you want to find common multiples in the numerator of the one fraction with the denominator of the other fraction and cancel those out so that the multiplication of the fraction itself becomes a lot easier. And here's a couple of examples. Once again, we'll go back to the easy 1/2 times 1/3 equals, you just bring the numerators, I'll just go ahead and write that out. 1 times the 1 over 2 times 3 1 times 1 equals 1 over 2 times 3, which equals 6. Okay, let's do one more example here. Let's say we have, we'll say 3/4 times, we'll go 12 over 18. And rather than multiplying the 4 times the 18 and the 3 times the 12, we'll see if we can find common multiples or common factors in the numerators and the denominator. So here, we can take a 4 out of that 4 and then take a 4 out of this one, which will leave us 3. And over here, we can take this 3 and reduce that to a 1 and also take out a 3. 3 times what equals 18? That's 6. Right, so then it's over here we have 1 over 1 times 3 over 6. And of course, 1 times anything equals whatever that number is. So we're just left with the 3 over 6. And then if you want to reduce that to its lowest common form, you can take out a 3, which is left with 1 here. You can take out a 3 there, which is left with 2. So our final reduced fraction is 1/2. Next, we'll show you how to divide two fractions. And dividing two fractions is very similar to multiplying two fractions, except there's one extra step. And that extra step is to invert the second fraction and then multiply. Here's an example. Let's take the simplest fraction we can. One half. And this is the symbol for divide. It's basically a horizontal line and two dots. Make that dot a little bit stronger there. And make that one a little bit better. And then let's just say divide 1/2 by 1/2. That's going to be the same as taking 1/2 and multiplying it by the inverse of the second fraction, which in this case, we're going to take the denominator and put it up top, take the numerator and put it on the bottom. And then now we multiply. And so then we have 2 over 2, and that can be reduced to 1. Let's do another example where you have, we'll go again with the 3/4 divided by 4/5. So we just 3/4 stays the same. And we extend that. This is going to be 3 times 5 divided by 4 times 4. And that's going to equal 15 over 16.